folks, welcome in to this edition of Wave Extra, merging with Wave Weather Now. Zozaya, joined by meteorologist Ryan Hoke. Ryan, I won't necessarily speak for everybody who's joining us right now, but I gotta tell you, I'm gonna guess 90% of folks are gonna be saying, Ryan, they're so happy to be discussing this weekend and the fact that, you know what, it's gonna be nice enough to take off the ties, go spend some time outdoors. We're talking temperatures that would remind us of fall and pumpkin spice latte season, but we're not there just yet.
No.
I am not wishing for that. I am not wishing for that part of the year just yet, because everything has a season. But just enjoying and talking about sort of this break from what we've been talking, you know, ranging from sticky to uncomfortable kind of heat and humidity outside for us.
Right. You know, this is nice to have good weather to talk about for a change. I feel like we've been talking about either snow, horrendous thunderstorms, incredible heat, or any mix thereof. And now we actually get to talk about something that's nice. This may be one of the nicest weekends of the entire summer.
That's saying something. And then, so not to rush to go enjoy it, but if you have plans, I'd say enjoy the downtime if you're able to do it on, you know, Friday, Saturday. We've been discussing, even if Sunday there's some variation to where Kevin had been discussing, and you can go to detail with that, Ryan, about how, you know, Sunday kind of primes us for what feels more summer-like than not. But hey,
yeah,
2 prime days, and then you can, you know, we get back to summer, and fall will be here shortly enough. But I'm just thinking, go take a walk in the forest.
Oh, yeah.
Go enjoy a game of, you know, whatever your favorite sport is outside. I'm so looking forward.
Yeah, make some outdoor plans this weekend here. We once again want to welcome our viewers on both Wave Now and Wave Weather Now. We've merged the streams, as it were, this evening because of what's going on Wave, our actual television channel. For those of you local here to us, we do have a sporting match on NBC this evening that has preempted the 7 p.m. news. We're the only 7 o'clock news in the market here. So we've decided to take kind of a slimmed down version of that and put it on Wave Now and Wave Weather Now this evening. So we're going to start out with weather a little bit. You know, that's because we've sent a push alert to our weather app users saying, hey, get a weather or I should say a weather forecast right here. We're getting ready to be live. So we'll start with that. We did want to start with a hokey weather fact this evening. This is typically something I do at 7:30 on Wave here. We're going to pop this up. All right. So Jose, what do you think the hottest month of the year is?
So my gut, Ryan, would tell me I shouldn't go like too early in summer, just because, you know, summer goes longer than we might think at first glance. I don't know. August is what I would guess.
You would guess August. And so many people on social media that I've seen today also guessed August, but most of the time, it's actually July.
Okay.
July, about 74% of years, going back to 1873. Yeah, we've got some old weather records here in the Louisville area. Have been the hottest month of the year. Now, August, about a quarter of the time, 26% of years, has been our hottest month of the year. So this year, I think July is going to be the hottest month, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a meteorologist to tell you that, just because the forecast looks a bit cooler heading forward into August as opposed to it was in July. All right, let's get to a little weather here. I do want to show you what's going on the radar at this hour, and that is continued thunderstorm activity south and east of Louisville. Louisville, dry. South and east of here, not so much. These range from Harrisonville, Kentucky, just southeast of Taylorsville now, and also going down toward Lebanon Junction, Scuffletown, southern Bullitt County. Still seeing some of these downpours. I called them thunderstorms earlier, but there's actually no lightning. That lightning counter on the top white banner of our screen is not illuminated with anything. So these are just downpours. Let me put the loop on here so you can see the last 3 hours and how these are just continuing to push south and east. These are right along the actual cold front that's pressing through. You know, this has been one of the best advertised cold fronts in the history of humankind here in Wave Country, just because it's been so hot, and this is going to provide us with such a huge level of relief here. As we zoom things out, you'll note that most of the storm activity is to our south and east and southeastern Kentucky. Here in Wave Country, it's just that little band that I showed you from Bullitt County to southeast to Taylorsville there. Louisville, dry for the remainder of the evening. Southern Indiana, you guys are done. So what about this cooler, drier air? Well, you see the front positioned across western Kentucky and Bluegrass Parkways now in central Kentucky. To the north of that, winds are coming from the north. So this air is already starting to change, but it's not going to be this instant flip of a light switch. This is going to be more of a gradual sort of affair here. And let me show you what that looks like. This is the current moisture levels in the atmosphere. For you nerds out there, precipitable water, that's what I'm showing you here. For you non-nerds, If it looks more green, it's more humidity in the air. And if it looks more brown, it's drier. See all that brown across the Great Lakes near the banner here on your screen up there, I should say. Got to get my directions right. I'm a meteorologist after all. That is that drier, cooler air. I don't want to call this cool air because some folks may say that's kind of like a misnomer here. You know, lows will be in the upper 50s. That's good. But in the daytime hours this weekend, we'll still be in the 80s. It's just not going to be in the ridiculous 90s, right? Here's another way to measure this air change here. You'll see those 70s to our north. Chicago at 72 with low humidity. Even like New York City at 74. Not too far south of there, Norfolk, Virginia, near 90. So you see that air mass change taking place over the Great Lakes, now sinking toward the lower Ohio Valley. Another sign of this change is the cloud cover. It's been kind of overcast this afternoon and this evening. Current temperature here in Louisville is 78 degrees. Now, the dew point, which is a measure of moisture in the air, is at 71. That's no good. That is too high. That is still kind of in the sticky or miserable category here. We will get that down gradually overnight and especially during the day on our Friday. Made it to 86 today. We did not make it to 90 today. The thunderstorms we had early in the day and the cloud cover precluded us from seeing much of that. So the heat just didn't take us up on the last offer we had for it to stick around today. 77 was a muggy low this morning. Let's get to the forecast for the overnight here. Mostly cloudy skies, drier, cooler. Temperatures in the mid-60s. That'll be 10 degrees cooler tomorrow morning than it was this morning, if you can believe that. All right, 10-day earliest alert. We're going to spend a little time here and break down kind of each and every day to give you a sense of what we can expect for this weekend and beyond. I know it's capturing your attention here. It's Friday and Saturday because the temperatures are so low compared to what we've had lately. This is what the humidity level will be like tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. You see all that blue right there? That is pleasant air moving in. That's dry air moving in. It will feel great tomorrow. Most of the day spent in the pleasant or just slightly humid category, which again, for this time of year is real bonus weather and will be even drier with that air by Friday night into early Saturday. Great timing for the Street Rod Nationals tomorrow. Of course, they've been going on today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. We will have temperatures in the upper 70s by 2 o'clock. Don't forget the sunscreen this weekend. Even though it's not humid, it's going to be a little cooler, we still need to make sure we're putting on our sunscreen. Our UV index is high to very high still this time of year. Racing Louisville may have its best weather for a match that they've had in 2025 on Friday night with those temperatures in the 70s throughout the match and really a clear sky heading into tomorrow night. So that's Friday. Here's Saturday real quick. Tomorrow, or I should say Saturday morning here. I wish tomorrow were Saturday. We're not there yet. I'm wishing too much here. Saturday morning, 2 mornings from now, will be 61 here in Louisville. Outside the city, we'll be in the 50s. So if we take that 61-degree low temperature back, we go all the way back to early June. So this will be the coolest morning on Saturday morning that we've had in 52 days. That's more than 7 weeks. Put some gravity to that, right? Wow, that's a lot. Don G's recipe to end hunger charity is going to be out at Egg Fest on Saturday, and the weather looks impeccable. I mean, we're talking low 80s, plenty of sunshine, low humidity. This just keeps getting better, right? And then the Lou City FC soccer match, because we've got 2 soccer matches, Friday and Saturday here. That one looks just as good as the Racing Louisville one. So Saturday, easily one of the picks of the weekend there. All right, so what about Sunday? Sunday, 85 the high temperature. We will start to see the return of the humidity somewhat. It's not going to be a huge increase, but enough that you'll notice. Still fine to be outside, and there will be a small chance for some pop-up storms by Sunday afternoon as that humid air mass that you see here on the map starts to creep into central Kentucky. So again, few isolated storms, higher humidity on Sunday. Monday, very similar situation as that bubble of humid air from the Gulf continues to move through, giving us this time scattered storms for Monday afternoon and potentially Tuesday afternoon. Even Wednesday may have some scattered storm activity, but it's looking like now that we'll at least get those storms out of here by the time we reach our Thursday. So we pair that back to only a 20% storm chance there. Highs, though, will get back into the 90s, womp, womp, a week from tomorrow. So what this does is it gives us nearly a week of a break from the 90s, which this time of year, that can be hard to get, Jose. I mean, we're really looking forward to getting all of this humidity out of here because it, as I said in my Hoke weather fact earlier this week, it does age you. This extreme heat doesn't feel good, not really good for you. So to see kind of a crisp sort of air situation here, that's a little bit of a pumpkin spice preview, I think we'll take it.
I'm not wishing that, if you all, you can enjoy your pumpkin spice lattes. I would rather enjoy that as I'm enjoying the nice brisk walk, and the temperatures at that point, Ryan, when we are really into fall, just feel a lot steadier. And just remind folks, again, this isn't for you, put you on the spot with
Right.
an exact number
Sure.
of averages. I'm just thinking, okay, so here we are enjoying what are going to be, it's been those 50 plus days, waking up as nice as it's going to be in the morning.
Yeah.
When we're talking, sort of understanding those temperatures for a longer time, we're talking, into October for being here in Wave Country?
Yeah, October is typically when we start to really take the bite out of the heat here. I think our latest 90-degree day was like October 13th of 2019, if that memory serves me right. I was here for that. So usually mid to late October, we're really starting to see those highs in the upper 70s, lower 80s. So a bit of an October preview. So I guess you could say a pumpkin spice preview if you wanted to, but only for a very short period of time. Yes. Saturday morning's the nicest of the bunch. So if you're looking for a time to be outside to really kind of feel that fall spirit, Saturday morning.
You're almost, I was mulling this over in my head, Ryan. I was thinking wake up earlier than we would normally for our shifts.
Yeah.
Earlier than we normally would for our shifts, to say brew the coffee, take a big mug with you, and go sit outside if you have a backyard or somewhere you can sit down and enjoy that before the sun.
I like that idea. That sounds good to me.
All right, Ryan, appreciate your time. We're going to keep things moving along. Big shout out, of course. Thank you to Ryan Hoke as he's heading out there for tonight. So a reminder, the Wave Weather Now channel, always there for you, the Wave Weather free app to download on your smart devices, your phones. The storm tracking team always working hard to get you that latest information, especially when we're talking good news. It's always nice to, give them their credit to let you know that we are going to enjoy this and then preparing for the week that's coming ahead. So we want to thank Ryan and the storm tracking team. All right. Let's move on to some other stories for the day, especially as we're discussing perhaps for the kids coming back to school, going through their first days of the school year, and thankfully not having to worry so much about inclement weather or the kind of things that for parents, moms and dads, you have to think you have to prepare them with extra layers of raincoats and gear. We're not talking any of that. In particular, it seemed to go pretty smooth today for kids for Greater Clark County schools. We want to show you some of that video that we're able to pull up right here. So take a look at what we were able to check out. This includes, by the way, bus routes went pretty smooth for the new Charlestown Elementary and Pike Elementary schools. For reference, Pike, quite a big campus, holds about 900 students. Charlestown Elementary has room for even more, though, 1,200 students. We did catch up with Superintendent Mark Loeffner, who says each of the schools has several features that he believes are going to improve student learning.
While they're big schools, they're still the school within a school concept. Each grade level has their own wing or area, and they're all separated, so it doesn't feel like a big school when you're inside the school.
There we go, the big ribbon cutting. And school dismissals started at 2:20 this afternoon. So for you kids at GCCS schools, well done, rested from the first big day of activities, just kind of winding down now, probably getting ready to go to bed to get all that energy back for the next day of classes tomorrow. We do have, by the way, a full list of all the first days of schools across our districts in Wave Country. If you haven't read that or just wanted to check, of course, for your own respective school district, you probably had been checking in on all that information, but if yours is coming up, or maybe you're just interested in when everybody else is coming back to school, that is a full list you can always check out on our website, wave3.com. Now, for the kids maybe who are on their way to coming back to school, so maybe their calendar year has not started quite yet, here's an opportunity where you can give back. This is a school supplies giveaway, and you can see the important details right there. It's happening on Sunday, August 3rd, so it's this coming Sunday, and quite a moment to do so when we're talking about the kind of weather that doesn't preclude you from spending that time outside, enjoying some, play in the park, playing in the playgrounds, all just wonderful opportunities to spend that time together as a family. And so just want to let you know about sharing that information. It's going to be at the Shawnee Park. Just head over to the basketball courts from 5 to 7 p.m. The supplies that they will have available, those are going to be first come, first serve. So just be aware of that as we move about the weekend. So setting up some stuff here. Okay. All right. So want to let you all know this is tonight's edition of Wave Extra. Just moved up a little early. If you're still tuned in with us, checking in on some comments from folks all over the social media sphere. So want to appreciate everyone joining us in on YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch. Just wanted to point out from Waterfront Wednesday, a comment from Justin letting us know that it was quite awesome. So that's good to know. And especially, the weather, we would like it to cooperate a little bit more, but sometimes it's about enjoying the good music with some good people out by the river. So that's good to hear. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break just to reset some things up as we're moving around, the stories and updates for tonight's edition of Wave Extra on Wave Now. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back. All right, folks, welcome back into this edition of Wave Extra as we had merged in the beginning with the Wave Weather Now app. Shout out to meteorologist Ryan Hoke for walking us through what's going to be a quite promising, pleasant forecast as we get closer to our weekend. A little bit of a blip for the summertime, but as Ryan let us know with his amazing trivia to go through, that we expect August sometimes to be the hottest month. It's only that case for us in Wave Country a quarter of the time. Mostly it's July that we're dealing with that kind of uncomfortable, sticky weather. So something to look forward to. We're not quite out of summer yet. So if you still enjoy the warm weather, we're going to discuss probably coming back to those 90s around this time next week. So something to keep in mind for you all there. So now the big story we have been sort of highlighting on the website, starting with all of our different newscasts this evening so far, of course, the startling images of this home in Jeffersonville catching fire and somehow exploding. We're going to get to some of those images you're about to see, but just it felt like chaos in the early morning hours. The house exploding, setting police, fire, paramedics down to Washington Way. If you're not familiar where that is, that's in the Capitol Hills neighborhood of Jeffersonville. Flames were even shooting out of the homes. It was just being destroyed in real time. A helicopter called in to try to help, and this was actually to fly 2 of the 5 victims who were most badly burned, unfortunately, but just to get them to a hospital to treat those really bad injuries. So as we're going to play some video from overnight of just the fire and the flames, we're going to also look at the wreck that was left behind once the sun came up and all just the wood and debris scattered everywhere. It's now been well over half a day. Actually, we're probably coming closer to 20 hours, I'd say, 19, 20 hours since this all played out. And the cause of the explosion, still no real answers there. So David Mattingly, our Wave News reporter David Mattingly, was there to take a look at what he could see from the blast site. And I want to share that with you right now.
Neighbors stand in the darkness and watch as fire consumes a house after an explosion shakes nearby homes.
I heard a big bang. I honestly thought it was something in my house, but it did shatter our window a little bit, and then we started hearing all the sirens and stuff.
A next-door neighbor describes 3 men and 2 women inside the house at the time, all suffering severe burns. Even in the light of day, that shock at seeing the destruction is not diminished. The explosion and fire left the basement completely exposed and the house above it and all its contents in pieces.
Even fires don't do stuff like that. That's just, I can't even imagine it. I ain't gonna lie. Just sitting there, just enjoying your day, and then it's scary.
The incident instantly stirs painful memories of a fatal gas explosion in 2019 that destroyed the home of a young couple just 1 street away. For Wayne Woods, that moment 6 years ago is impossible to forget.
We jump up, all my kids are screaming, and I looked out and the whole sky was red, everything was falling down.
That explosion took 1 life and damaged other homes, including Woods' house. He now openly wonders if there's a connection.
You know, now these people are injured. I mean, how many people's got to go through this before they do something about it? These gas lines has got to be old.
So that was perspective from our David Mattingly. And actually, as we were in the middle of the 4:30 newscast for Wave News at 4:30, we had learned from police that all 5 of the victims who were badly hurt, in fact, their injuries were so bad, they called them, quote, life-threatening. And so that's as much as we were able to learn as to who and what kind of injuries we're discussing. That's something that police have yet to reveal to us at this moment in time. But when we get those updates, we'll make sure to share them with you. Now, you heard the mention of what might be some fears about the gas infrastructure with the pipelines there. Again, no cause has been determined. The provider of the utility there for the gas is CenterPoint Energy. They say they have not detected any leaks in their system in the area. The investigation is still open, so something that we will certainly keep an eye on. But you mentioned, or we had mentioned, and just referring back to this is kind of a deja vu, a very tragic, could be, and shocking deja vu for the neighbors there, because the explosion site we were there at, we just saw, it's directly parallel to that home that exploded in 2019 on Assembly Road. Billy Phillips and his wife, Billy Phillips is actually the one who died from that 2019 explosion, and his wife Janet was badly hurt. Their family could not believe the news that they heard today. And so Wave News reporter Alina Noakes tells us, after going to check with them, they want to see a thorough investigation.
These were some of them that he painted with the kids when they were little. That was Uncle Billy.
An avid rock collector, a trait 49-year-old Billy Phillips picked up as an adult and shared with his family. This makeshift memorial and the memories captured in time
They found a shell in my parents' backyard.
are all that's left. Billy Phillips was killed when his home exploded on May 19, 2019. His wife Janet was severely injured. Investigators determined natural gas at more than 400 times the normal usage amount had flooded the Phillips home over a period of 15 hours prior to the explosion. They never smelled the gas. In a lawsuit filed against utility provider CenterPoint Energy after the explosion, investigators noted they also didn't detect a smell. That was a central detail in the lawsuit that ended in a confidential settlement in March 2024, which means the details aren't public. Now the family of Billy Phillips cannot believe they are seeing this nightmare play out all over again.
Oh my God, right next to it.
Kim Mangan couldn't believe the headlines Thursday morning, seeing the home just yards away from where her brother's house used to be destroyed.
That has to be more than coincidence. I'm sorry.
That's all she's been thinking ever since. 5 years later, and the trauma of the day Billy died is weighing on her, along with her sister-in-law, Janet.
She's trying to get through her day. This is bringing back memories of Billy, of everything she went through.
While the cause is still unknown, they both want to see a full investigation play out beyond just the blast itself.
They deserve to know if they're sitting on a time bomb. I don't know, but there's something, it really pinpointing between that section of that neighborhood, or if it's a whole thing throughout the entire neighborhood. And things will start going wrong as we go along. I don't know, but this is damn suspicious to me.
So you just heard there Arlene and Oak's conversation with members of Billy Phillips' family, his sister right there. And so we had also spent some time reaching out to Phillips' attorney, Terry Godspeed, who represented the family for that confidential settlement. So Godspeed telling us the goal was to protect the family's interests, remind the company of their duty to the community as the utility. He believed that they achieved that when they settled. At least that's what the attorney had told us. But now the timing and location of the new explosion, the attorney says that's bringing a lot more into question. So something, as I've mentioned before, whatever we're able to find out as fire marshals and everyone else involved investigates to see what, if any, connection exists, we'll make sure to let you know right here. The Wave News team will get on top of that. We're going to take another quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more of tonight's special edition of Wave Extra. All right, everyone, welcome back. It is almost 7:29 for tonight's edition of Wave Extra. If you're joining us, appreciate that now. Not so much for those of you who normally tune into the Wave Weather Now app. We did take that feed off, so you're probably just joining us from the Wave Now app from your smart devices. Appreciate all the folks still with us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch. You're going to get much more of meteorologist Ryan Hoke's forecasts, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harned's forecast breakdowns as we move through the rest of tonight, heading into the weekend. Looking forward to what is looking like the pick of what's left of the summer, I might argue, is promising to us with those what look very fall-like morning temperatures. So we're going to have much more of that for you tonight on Wave News at 11. Okay. Moving on to more of these stories as we're moving through more headlines on Wave Extra. So this is a discussion about a community safety commission that's supposed to respond to reports provided by an independent monitor. So what I want to let you all know is some reporting that our Fernando Garcia Francischini was doing today. So the background here is Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg today saying 24 people who make up the new Community Safety Commission, they have been selected. They're part of the mayor's Safe Louisville plan. The goal, again, being to reduce shootings, deadly shootings and homicides in the metro by at least 15% every year. And so Fernando had spent some time meeting some of the commission members, taking a closer look at what their stated goals are. And so again, we now know the commission's made of 24 people. They're from all corners of the city with all different kinds of backgrounds. Some, for example, run community organizations. Others are members of local government. The commission is also comprised of people who are social workers, teachers, civil rights advocates, just to name a few. And you're going to see an image of what we were able to see. There we are, popping out there at the official confirmation. So the group stated it really has two main priorities. The first is to help public safety, reduce violent crime. They're also helping, as they put it, to hold LMPD accountable by making sure any steps and reforms in the consent decree that's been much discussed are actually followed. And we also got to talk to one of the commission's members about the changes that she individually would like to see.
Just treatment for everybody, regardless of zip code, regardless of your circumstances. Everybody should not be afraid of the police.
And the Community Safety Commission, again, now supposed to be responding to regular reports that are provided by an independent monitor, and will, of course, stay on top of what that choice is. The city has described the independent monitor as someone who's a neutral evaluator of Louisville and LMPD's progress as they have stated to implement the consent decree. Make sure to play that file right there. Okay. So again, the city is taking applications for the independent monitor now that they've picked the commission members, but the monitor will, those applications will be looked at until next Monday, August 4th, which I believe is it the 4th? I'm going to double check. It is Monday the 4th, yes. Mayor Greenberg says they are expecting to hire someone for the role after they go through those applications within the next few months. And so there is one update for you all tonight. Okay, moving on to another update from a troubleshooters investigation we first brought you back in April, and we've learned there will be no criminal charges. That's the decision for a Metro police officer who was speeding, and what you're seeing is the image frozen right there from this camera, without her lights and sirens on, and that was the moment just before a deadly crash. Now, the state tried to indict LMPD officer Alyssa Bagel on a single charge of manslaughter, but the grand jury returned what's called a no true bill, meaning that Officer Bagel will not face any criminal charges. An eyewitness had told Wave troubleshooters at some point this year, or not long after this investigation, that the officer's car did not have lights on or sirens on when it was involved in the crash with Charles Brisco. This was on Fern Valley Road in early April. LMPD confirmed Officer Bagel is still working for the department. She's employed, but is on administrative leave. So that is an update to that particular investigation. I want to show you perhaps a different angle on this video right here. Now, LMPD sent us a statement this afternoon after learning about the grand jury's decision, saying their internal investigation is still open. The statement also reads in part, quote, because this is still an active investigation, we're not able to provide further information other than to express our continued condolences to Charles Briscoe's family. Okay, now to an update on something we had just learned at around 6 this evening. Louisville Metro Police and the city's Inspector General are disagreeing about whether a former officer broke protocol in this police shooting in Clifton back in 2023. For a reminder, the Inspector General, this was reviewing a shooting on Frankfurt Avenue that killed 46-year-old James Monty. The report found Officer Roberto Cedino's actions did not align with LMPD policy. That is the IG's stance when it came to alternatives to deadly force, and making the case that he did not use any de-escalation tactics or made verbal warnings. LMPD's internal report found that the use of deadly force was justified since Monty had shot at officers and also had a gun. In a statement this afternoon, did say in part, and this was as the response to the Inspector General's report, Officer Cedino performed exactly as we would expect, meaning LMPD and Chief Paul Humphrey, any officer to perform in that situation. And so we're going to dive much more into what the specifics of each letter report are saying, why they're countering and they're disagreeing. That's going to be something our Julia Richardson is working on to flesh out for you. So we're going to kind of weigh the paperwork and remind you about the case that really all this hinges on. It's going to be for you tonight on Wave News at 11. And another update on something that police say they could use your helping solve to find a stolen box truck. This one sports the U of L's logo. If you see, this is right there on the top of the side corner of the trailer of the truck. Police tell us the truck was taken at around 3 Tuesday morning. It's from the 1900 block of South Floyd Street, and it not only has that U of L logo up in that superior corner, that upper corner, it has a ramp on the back. Its license plate is W4705. If you see it driving about or abandoned, wherever you might know it is, go ahead and call LMPD if it is something you might know where it can be found. Here we are at 7:36 as we're moving through the evening. We're going to take another commercial break, and we'll be right back to wrap up tonight's edition of Wave Extra. All right, folks, welcome back into this merged edition of what started as Wave Now and Wave Weather Now on tonight's Wave Extra. Safe to say I'm going to joke if you're still with us, not particularly Chargers or Lions fans, since that is what is preempting our regular 7 o'clock newscast. There's some football, preseason football on the main channel, but appreciate you joining us as we're going over some stories, headlines, updates that are here in our own backyard, and just another opportunity to discuss those stories of the day. So appreciate you joining us through could be the Wave Now app, all different social media feeds. We'll still be here once the game is over, by the way, to bring you the latest headlines and updates as we've been getting them throughout tonight on Wave News at 11. So, and of course, happy to see all the different comments we've got on social media. It's letting us know, for example, Albert on YouTube. Not too bad for him right now. The wind feeling good. We've been discussing how the breeze is going to play a factor. We're going to feel some of that as we head into Friday. Kevin had broken that down for us. And just the temperatures, gorgeous temperatures to start mornings Saturday that we're going to be feeling. And so can't wait to discuss that if you join us tonight on Wave News at 11. So we're going to round out sort of more updates, stories to things we've been discussing, things that will matter to, and that you've been discussing at home among the stories we've been covering throughout the days and weeks. We now have a little more insight into how Mid-City Mall in the Highlands could be redeveloped whenever that plan comes to fruition. We found out a law firm from Georgia has filed some new zoning documents, and it gives us an idea of what their priorities might be. So what does that look like? So in these documents, and they're not even renderings, but just as a proposal, it's new construction to build a 54,000 square foot grocery store and 6 standalone retail buildings, which total 53,000 square feet. So the zoning certification document was filed Wednesday. It didn't include many other details other than just to state what the intent of each of the spaces was. A reminder, the property, Mid-City Mall on Bardstown Road, was put up for sale last November. It's currently home to a bunch of well-known but smaller businesses, including the Value Market. There's a library branch still inside of the space, several other small businesses, entrepreneurs we've talked to that range from folks who run a salon we know is inside of that Mid-City Mall. So something that we'll certainly keep tabs on as we're moving through whatever those new plans will be for Mid-City Mall. All right, more stories right here. This was also new kind of toward the back half of the afternoon, an update for you all. It's involving Riverlink, so perhaps for drivers, a resource and a brand you think about more often than not because of all that cross traffic between the bridges and the river. Riverlink says it's going to spend $3 million to make customer service more efficient. And for that, just want to hit a button really here so you can get an idea of, this is what everyone does every day. The joint board and tolling body for Louisville Southern Indiana Ohio River Bridges project met today, and they approved a resolution that directed their toll service provider to immediately increase its staffing to support Riverlink customers. So the plan is to more than double the number of people who are currently answering those calls if you needed their help for any kind of support. The company hopes that the move is going to cut down on those wait times for customers. Not to mention, of course, this is part of our troubleshooters investigation with our Mark Stevens for toll notices, and that's something you could always visit to watch the investigation in full. It's under our troubleshooters tab on wave3.com. All right, time to shout out bit of an interesting sports story and how integral different perspectives horse racing is here in Wave Country, and how all these different characters tie into wanting to compete and be a part of Derby history. Now, as for the job of jockey, it is not an easy responsibility. For one particular rider, he's actually spent a portion of his summer recovering from an injury that had been holding him back, but now he's on the mend, back on his saddle. This is a report from our Wave Sports reporter, Dusty Baker.
So what we're looking at here, he has a fracture. It's very obvious at this bone. It appears that the one above it is broken as well.
Jockey Declan Cannon, who had previously suffered a back injury 3 years ago, sustained another injury in May after being thrown from his horse during a race at Churchill Downs. The recent incident resulting in back and neck injuries.
The whole position on a horse is an irregular position to be in, so you have to make sure the bones are healing and they can take the kind of pressure you're putting the body under.
Any jockey that we work with, from injury to return to racing, I tell them we're on your team for life. So we're cheering you on, we keep track of you.
But with the assistance of Norton Sports Health, Cannon quickly was given a plan for his recovery.
It did not require surgery, but we did some intensive physical therapy. It was really on an accelerated program to hopefully get him back riding again as early as possible.
I had a great team of people behind me, basically what it came down to. Here we have great facilities, and you can't be taking shortcuts.
With a rehab plan focused on getting him back on the track by the 4th of July.
These facilities are like what's needed at our sport.
With the consistent therapy at Norton Sports Health Performance and Wellness Center, Cannon saw noticeable improvement immediately. Fast forward to the end of July, and Declan's status much better.
I'm in peak condition.
Allowing him to get back out on the racetrack, where he was able to win 3 times in his return.
I'm just like really, really happy where I'm at with my riding and fitness, and just grateful for to be able to do what I love.
This recovery has been a journey for Declan, but after relentless rehab and unwavering determination, he has found his way back to where he belongs, the racetrack. And now the standard is high once again, to the point where victory is not just the goal, it's the expectation.
We're always excited when they have wins and success after working with us and going through a program.
This doesn't feel like work to me. It's a passion. It's a job I do. It's just very, very gratifying when you win.
Reporting in Louisville, Dusty Baker, Wave Sports.
Great to see him be able to get back on the saddle. The hope is a full healing and recovery to then get back to, the passion that still drives him. And this ties in as Declan and Dusty was able to sit down and talk to Declan. So a lot of what we associate with the passion behind horse racing, not just being there for the spectacle, but something to do with the history and the different focuses and spins on fashion that have popped up over the 150 plus years that the Derby's existed. And aside from the horses, fashion, a main thing that is preserved as kind of an archaeological record, if you will. So now the Derby Museum has opened a brand new exhibit, all these different, century plus of style that have helped make this the most exciting 2 minutes of sport. So this is our view now from inside the Derby Museum. Take a look. This is dresses, suits, of course, the hats that are hard to miss. The curation team says it's been piecing this exhibit together starting back in 2020. So you see outfits from as early as the 1870s all the way to just this past most recent Derby. One of the pieces you might recognize if someone is really into Derby fashion is Hot to Trot. It's an outfit that was put together by two longtime friends, featured at several Kentucky Derbies past. The first, let's take a look at what they had to say for the outfit.
It went from one basement to the other basement to one attic, and then we decided that we would try to get it retired at the Derby Museum. So it's now reached its permanent home, and it's retired royally.
Good to know it's found a pretty stable permanent home. As a bonus for the first 50 guests who showed up at the Kentucky Derby Museum this morning for the grand opening, they were gifted kits to make their very own Derby hats. And the future is not written, so we'll see how they all decide to add to that particular history of Derby fashion lore. All right, everyone, that is going to do it for us tonight on this edition of Wave Extra, starting off with, of course, shout out to meteorologist Ryan Hoke, emerged streamcast here to bring in the Wave Weather Now app. A reminder, all these different apps, channels, opportunities to connect with us are all available for you on your smartphone. They're on the website, so we always appreciate you spending a little time with us as we wrap up your evening and keeping you in the know about what's going on in your home and your neck of the woods. We're going to have, as the plan, whenever football wraps up, to be ready for Wave News at 11 tonight. And we'll be ready to see you then. Until then, take care. Enjoy your night.